Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In case you're new here, my name is Kim. This is Core Union. I want to talk today about reacting and how it's okay if you react. It's just what do you do after the initial reaction? From my perspective, the best thing to do if a situation comes up, regardless of whether it's around something related to any form of a relationship that involves any specific person, whether the specific person is your mother, father, friend, neighbor, store owner, employee, boss, editor, it doesn't matter. Specific person doesn't mean soulmate, true love, love of your life. It's not always romantic. And pretty much with anything and everything that is a manifestation, which simply means an experience that you have in your reality, there is always a specific person or a group of specific people on the other side of that. When it comes to situations, when they come up and it goes against something that we want, it is normal that you may have a reaction to it. Your reaction to it tells you what is active within you. But sometimes you may have already overcome obstacles and something happens and it just takes you off guard. And then you're just kind of like, whoa. When you look at it and you remain mentally in your end of whatever it is, and you're able to pull yourself out of the trigger quicker, then you have overcome that fear from my perspective. I don't know why, but I had a memory of something that happened back in, I want to say it was probably around 2014. I believe it was around 2014. So it was about 10 years ago. So I was 43 when this happened. And I had already been actively, deliberately creating, consciously manifesting the things that I wanted in my reality. So the experience that I want to talk about can be applied to literally any manifestation, whether it is something related to your romantic specific person, the person that you want to be with, that you want to be in a relationship with, something related to money, health, anything, because it is truly all the same. But you guys always, don't get caught up with every single thing when it comes to manifestation all being about just one thing, because then you put so much pressure on that one thing and your energy is kind of screaming, I don't have this. This is a mountain. This is something that's beyond me. I'm not worthy of this. I don't deserve this. I am in lack. I don't have this. I'm in fear. You are being that version of you. Okay. So anyway, again, I don't know why this memory came up, but I'm going to share this little manifestation. I know I've shared it probably in past videos, but they're probably buried, and I don't know if you guys will ever see this. So before I get into this, please do like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel if you love my content. If you want me to be your coach, email me a short description to kim@coreunion.com, and I will reply back to you with my next available session after you've booked with me. You can do a 30-minute or a package. I wanted to move my business to another city that I was absolutely in love with. To enter into that market was nearly impossible for people. I ended up manifesting. After I took a walk one day on my day off, I was urged to take a walk. I saw a store location that I was just like, this is the future home of my business. I went across the street. I stared at it. I saw the name of my business across the top. Without going into too much detail about this particular manifestation, I'll just fast forward to, there was a bridge of incidents. I was then back at, this was probably a couple weeks later, I was back at the current city in my current store location. The owner of that exact building came walking in and asked to speak to me. I introduced myself. She asked me if I was interested in opening a store location in that city. And I told her, yes, I was. And she said, well, because I'm looking for a new tenant of this particular store location, which was the exact store location. From my perspective, That already existed. When I was drawn to and pulled towards walking down the street and seeing that, my desire that I was so passionate and felt like this is my store location was because that already existed. It already happened where this whole chain of events that I'm describing already happened. And I was simply becoming aware of something that already existed. Now, fast forward a couple years later, I now had a desire to move store locations because I had grown so much that I outgrew that store location. And I wanted to move my store so I could show more furniture, have more vignettes of furniture, because the amount of money that I was making out of this small store location wasn't as much as what I felt deep down I wanted. And I knew if I was in a larger store location, in a better location, the location that was outside of what I believed I could afford the couple years prior to that, I knew that my business would really explode. So I set my sights on a particular other store location. Again, this store location was also already another business was already in that store location. Once I decided, I saw my business in this. I ended up creating in, maybe it was Adobe Illustrator or something, whatever software I used. I took an image of that store. This looked so real. I created new windows. I put my furniture, I put my awning with my business name. It was crazy how real that that this looked. I took it and I emailed a picture of that to the landlords. The same person who had put me in her store location owned almost all of the retail business store locations in that city. So I took an image of that. I sent it to the leasing director and I just sent it with a wink and I said, just saying. Now, remember, at that time, the store was already inhabited by another business, but I felt a pulling towards it. And I was like, this is my new store location. Okay. Fast forward, I wasn't hearing anything. There was crickets, radio silence. I was literally not hearing anything from anybody from that. So a lot of people would have started telling stories. This isn't going to work. They don't prioritize me as a business. They don't want my business to succeed, or who knows what story. But for me, I was waking up every day in my mind, going to that store location. Every day when I was in the store location I was in, I would close my eyes and imagine I was in the other store location. Sometimes in the afternoons, I would have somebody watch the store and I would go walk into the other store location and I would just walk around and take it all in. I would look at the floors. I would look at the architecture, the ceilings, because it had a very cool, very industrial warehouse vibe to it. So it was really cool that it was kind of like rough around the edges, and my interior design aesthetic was very kind of sophisticated, modern, reclaimed wood, a lot of metal, a lot of glass, kind of edgy, but kind of classic too. So that combination, I could feel it. It's like I could taste it. I could smell it. I was so passionate about it. That's how real it felt to me. Even though when I was in the store, I saw clothing that the other store was selling, to me, I was in the middle of my showroom. Okay. Then again, morning, noon, and night, that's where my store location was, regardless that I was in this present store location. In my mind, I was living from the end of being in there. And I was also getting all the sales that I knew I would get from moving the store. So I don't know how much time had passed, but again, it was radio silence. Suddenly, I think I reached out and I said something like, hey, just checking if you saw this email. And I forwarded it again. And then they replied and they said, are you kidding me? We've been so excited. We've been buzzing in the office, so excited about having your store moved in. They ended up explaining to me that the current tenants decided they wanted to move out and get out of their lease early. And what was happening all of that time when I wasn't hearing from them was they were actually in conversation with not only that current tenant to let them out of the lease early, they were also talking to another business from another city to put them in where I currently was. So then I could move into that location. So it was all in process and happening. All the movement was happening while I wasn't hearing anything, while I was persisting and living from the end. They pulled me out of that. They put me in this. I gave myself literally only, I think, 2 or 3 days, not only to move with only two employees, to move my, well, two delivery people that I had and one support person. There's a lot of setup, there's a lot of logistics stuff. So I only gave myself 2 or 3 days to be down. In other words, within those 2 or 3 days, we had to move everything out and move everything in and be up and running for the weekend in the new store location. I kept focusing on being up and running by whatever day it was on the weekend. And I kept seeing people being so excited. Music was loud, doors were open. It was like a party. And everybody was so excited for the growth, and people were buying their furniture. And it was just a party. It was so much fun. That's what my focus was. When all of the furniture was moved out, like all of everything was getting moved out by my two delivery people, and they were moving everything in. All of a sudden, they got everything in, and I knew that the next day, I believe it was, that a tractor trailer was coming with a whole bunch of new furniture. Oh, actually, sorry, the tractor trailers had already dropped it off. It was coming from the warehouse. So we were pretty much, I was doubling, if not tripling, the store space. So suddenly all of this new furniture was coming in. And I don't know, again, if you guys understand the logistics of having this all happen very smoothly without any hiccups, keeping my focus and energy on the end. I suddenly get a text from one of my employees because it was starting to get dark out. And he said, "There's no lighting in here. We can't see anything." And I said, "No, no, no, just go in the closet and flip the switch." And then he said, "We're trying, there's no lighting." I said, "Okay, check the electrical panel. Maybe something got tripped. I've already done that. There's no lighting." "What are you saying?" He says, "I'm saying there's no lighting." And he sends a picture of the ceiling. The store that moved out took all of the lighting. They literally took every single light bulb that was in the ceiling. So this was potentially a hindrance that could stop me from being able to open in time, but it didn't feel real to me. Did I react? Yes, I reacted. Did I start calling? I was like, "No problem. Okay, why don't you guys just head home then? I will take care of this." I started immediately emailing and calling all sorts of lighting sources. All of them were telling me it would take at least a couple weeks before they would be able to get the lighting to me. I I was a little bit triggered, but I also knew, I was like, well, this right here isn't true because I've lived in the end of opening for the weekend, so I know somehow this is happening. I just did something. I distracted myself. I just enjoyed my evening. I did the same things I typically do. And I was just so excited about opening for the weekend. There was just something in me to say to call this very specific electrician. I don't remember when I had worked with him previously, but I called him. I listened. I called him. He said, "What are the bulbs?" And I sent him a picture, and somehow he figured out what I needed. He said, "Not a problem. I can have you at like 50 or 70% lit up by the day you need it. And then I can get the rest of the lighting to you a few days later." I was like, "Awesome. Okay, perfect. Thank you." And so I continued to just trust. I didn't get caught up in the middle. I knew that my employees were good employees. They were doing the best that they could do. So I texted them, I let them know, "Okay, we're going to get all the bulbs by this date. So plan on by this time on this day, your guys are going to get ladders and be ready that you guys are going to be putting all the bulbs in the tracks, because our priority is obviously going to have the lighting to be ready by such and such day. So in the meantime, get there as early as you can where you're going to have sunlight and start just setting up everything, but do it with a sense of urgency. Do it with a sense of knowing we don't have all the time in the world like we normally would." Okay. And so they were very like, "Yep, we got this. We got this." Everything went off without any more problems. I was open in time for the weekend. It was exactly what I saw in my mind. So I just wanted to share this with you. I only have a few minutes to my client to tell you that, yes, you might react, or yes, you might not see any movement, but you have to continue to persist from the end. And if all of your time and energy is constantly monitoring your 3D for the evidence that your inner work is working, this is one of the reasons why you're caught in the middle. This is a trap that you've fallen into. All you need to do is pull yourself out of it and have trust. When it comes to things related to the heart, romantic, specific person, for example, and I'm not talking about abusive things, I'm not talking about toxic things, okay? When it comes to matters of the heart, though, when you are refusing to let go of what is happening in the 3D, from my perspective, like with me and my SP, out of protection of our life together, I am willing to disengage and let go of things that are happening in the 3D. This is out of protection for our life together. Because then I get to go within and I get to go within and, heal things, let go of things that need to be let go of, and just continue to persist in a happy, beautiful, loving, stable, secure, blissful, easy flow of life together. If I am unwilling to let go of the stuff that happened in the 3D and be okay, like I need to be okay with a little bit of letting go, a little bit of this grip of needing to make things happen in the 3D. If I need to always be connected in the 3D when we're not being our highest selves together, then I'm staying attached to the 3D. So, out of protection, you want to be willing to disengage. You don't have to be connected in the 3D. You guys are already one, you guys are already connected. Energetically, it's an energetic relationship. Okay. So, and this is the case with literally everything. Remember that if you are feeling passionate and you feel a strong desire towards something, that end already exists. It's already done. You're not making it happen. You're allowing yourself to get in the acceptance of it by persisting in your end, in your imagination, and knowing that when you do that, that is what is going to allow it to unfold in your reality. I love you guys so much. I got to go. My client's about to start for the day. I know for a fact that this helped many of you guys. Please do affirm down below that you are now shifted in being the highest and best version of you and only allowing yourself to experience the highest and best version of everyone and everything in your reality. And stop messing with your 3D. Stop getting caught up in your 3D. I love you so much. If you need me, reach out. Have an amazing day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Nothing can come, nothing can come, nothing can come between us.